Me bed the makasa chen wo dem metunufo.
Was in the banana and makasa chen wo dem metunufo.
Nanso ma men kan chiro.
Dr. Matthew Prempe was man kan chiro.
Ma Dr. Bawumia nunu ho se wo yi wo.
Dr. Bawumia no so yi wo.
Ghana ha ya Ghana abakosoma. President Kufuor to call retirement. But to be sacked, who said a free say Ghana from 1957. Ever can the president be our boy Ghana chair and how do that call Kufuor?
The man of seven, I feel 19. Now, the damn call Kufuor. Not carrying cheap. You beat me, our Ghana. Empu, the Bokaya, they are doing this morning. Say Ghana, 1957, by from Banu, Ever Canning, a Benjamin away to my chain, and
now, Bawumia ano say, hi, Enna, or Pese, only the years Jumai. One for baby, two for one for baby.
We are back. Right. So, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe, now it's official. He is the running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the pair they call the perfect pair for the NPP's ticket for 2024. He appears to be visiting palaces. And some say there's an understanding because he's a royal. And he began from home, Manhyia. That's where he's from. And as a royal, they needed to do this nicely. And you heard Otumfuo speak. The focus, after his outdooring, unfortunately, has been about something he himself now apologizes. Initially, he said he was taken out of context or he was misrepresented. But he has come subsequently to say he's sorry. Who is he sorry to? He says he didn't mean to disrespect the former president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, or any of our former heads of state, including his own grand uncle and mentor, John Ejekum Kufuor. It appears he realizes that he had not only attempted to demean even Kufuor or people of his own tradition. Let's begin with Kofi Bento. And Kofi Bento says Bawumia is the ticket, the best ticket.
Yeah.
He has said Napo may need some bit of, working on in the manner he speaks, but he agrees to the perfect pair. Dr. Atta Kennedy and several others. Dr. Atta Kennedy was on this show last week and said, this is advice to the NPP. You actually also agreed to that advice, that they should be watchful how he communicates.
Yeah.
Do you find that even on the first day of his job, he's attracting negative energy to the ticket?
No question about that. That was an unforced error. It was an unnecessary mistake. It was the weakness of Napo coming to the fore. And this is what people have been talking about. So look, it was bad, period. It was a negative. It was baggage that he shouldn't have. The only thing is that it's come up at the first place, so maybe he should deal with it. But again, you see, last week's discussion, I said something which many people mistook. I said, if after decades of Napo's politics, the biggest problem people cite about him is that he is arrogant, then the positive is that maybe he's effective. I didn't mean arrogance was positive. Then I said, if somebody calls you arrogant in this country, check yourself. Because it is not really the dictionary definition of arrogance. It may be all kinds of different things. One of those things is indiscretion. So the question, people say, we told you he's arrogant. You see he's arrogant. Was that arrogance? Was it arrogance to mention Kwame Nkrumah and say the things that you said? Your Kwame Nkrumah. Now, hear me carefully. For me, that was not arrogance. It was politically inappropriate. It was emotionally unintelligent and strategically inept.
How else do you tell that someone is arrogant?
So, wait, you see, the point I want to make is, let's not be fixated about arrogance. Let us go to the actual situation and deal with it. What Napo did weakens his friends and strengthens his enemies. It has nothing to do with arrogance. It is strategically inept. Okay? It is emotionally unintelligent. Kwame Nkrumah is the greatest African of the last millennium. The best leader we have ever had. The one man who could have been president of the United States of Africa. How do you take him on in those terms?
The man who epitomizes the philosopher king.
You can say
what should have been the ideal for a leader of any country.
That man did not have a vice president. He ruled this country with his little finger. He did all those things that he did within that space of time and didn't leave any property for his children. Look, we can go on and on and on, but my point is, if you just say Napo is arrogant, you have missed the point. For me, this is serious. And that is why...
So will this hurt the Bawumia campaign?
I've said it. It weakens his friends and strengthens his enemies. Who has said anything about Napo or the speech apart from this one? Okay. So look, like I said, the decision is for Vice President Bawumia to take. And he had a lot of time. To the extent that it was his prerogative, he didn't make a mistake.
Do you find that even when Otumfuo says, I don't know you to be arrogant, you've not been brought up, that's not the way I brought you up, and then still said, I've had conversation with you in the closet, and then he still comes forward to say it. It's as if he wants to be careful. And then he says, but if the people are saying this, be watchful.
Yes. There's a statement, there's a phrase called putting your foot in your mouth. You can Google it and see. That's the problem. And sometimes people can't help themselves. People will tell you that if you are close to Napo, you will not sense this arrogance people talk about. But it comes across that way.
There are others who will tell you differently. If you are close to him, you will confirm that it's worse.
My father told me something many years ago. I've never forgotten. He says, if 2 or more people tell you the same thing about yourself, it is true. Check it. You may not like it.
That's Bible.
Oh, fine. But let's move. So my point
is, testimony of 2.
The matter is
I think it's established.
So what I'm saying is this. For me, I'm looking for effective leaders for this country. Now, arrogance doesn't work well in Ghanaian politics. Now, whether Napo is arrogant or not, he has to deal with it. What I'm worried about is, even if you are arrogant, you should not be making emotionally unintelligent.
Okay, so let's move away from arrogance now. Let's move away from arrogance now. He comes because he says he's sorry. He's regretted it. He's hurt people.
Yes.
It should be let go.
It's quite offensive.
The CPP issued a statement. Several other people have told how they are disgusted about it. So we should ignore his defense that he tried to put up. Now, what do you think? After his outdooring, he appears to be visiting, royal homes, so to speak. How central is that as a strategy to their campaign?
Listen, Ghana is a democracy, and our kings and chiefs are not supposed to be in mainstream politics. But if you're a politician in this country and you belittle the institution of chieftaincy, you just shot yourself in the foot. If you're a politician in this country and you don't understand the power, I'm talking about real power, that people like that Santini wields, you are joking. So he starts from somewhere, and as a royal, it is proper that he starts from the palaces. Let's see where he goes from here. So that, absolutely correct. And when people complain about Napo and everything, look, one of the problems of MPP is that their base is demoralized, and they may not get people coming out to vote in the kind of numbers they want. Napo is the one man that can change that. So when he's done, you may not hear him, see him go out and do all kinds of things generally and broadly. But I think if he gets his strategy well or right and manages to get the MPP faithful, their base, to come out and vote, you will see what will happen. So as far as I'm concerned, it is Vice President Baomia's choice, he's made his choice, he knows why. I think he also knew the weaknesses of Napo. And like I'm saying, it come out on the first instance. But for me, to just tag it as arrogant is just belittling the matter. In other senses, it's more serious.
There are those who also put a bit of an
doing.
emphasis on what he talks about and refers to Professor Milton and say, I do fear Oye. So he tells the people that I'm one of your own. And people suggest that's getting to tribalistic, ethnocentrism. Where do you stand on that?
It sounds tribalistic. Again, if you're a political strategist and you don't understand the role of regional balance, what we call tribalism in this place, you are joking. Even in the US, where they don't have tribes, they always have regional balance. You pick somebody from here, then you pick somebody from that side. Now, one of the problems that the NPP has, apart from its base, is Kumasi. It's Ashanti, where its stronghold is supposed to be. And they're having a lot of problems in Ashanti, from Adanchemanti issues and all the things that everybody knows. Napo is the perfect plug to solve that problem. And if he's a politician and knows what he's doing, he should quickly connect to his people at that level. Right. So look, political strategy has all kinds of aspects to it. And for me, I think I am watching closely. Napo made a mistake in terms of mentioning Kwame Nkrumah in that light, but in terms of connecting to his people and saying that I'm one of you, absolutely solid political strategy.
Right, Dennis, the thing to look out for as people who have watched the politics and the campaigns, we're getting into the silly season, so to speak, is now to begin to figure out what is this strategy? What is it with Napo in there and going to chiefs?
Okay, so Samson, first of all, let me say emphatically that Napo is not arrogant. You don't tell or mention people's character for them to be. You experience it. You live it. And for anybody you hear say Napo is arrogant, by the time you trace back the person, you realize that he's only feeding on the public conversation and hasn't really worked with him. As a matter of fact, ever since Napo was mentioned, almost every single individual that has worked with him has come out to say, no, this is a good choice, based on my experience. And these are not politicians.
Have you heard any of Bawumia's critics say Bawumia is arrogant? Anything close that Bawumia is arrogant? Have you ever heard that?
But I've heard the critics call Bawumia other names.
So he may have done certain wrongs. He may have done things they don't like, but they never say he's
saying
arrogant.
that I've heard the critics call Bawumia names that are not true.
The point is that it cannot be said that Napo does some wrong and people interpret that to be arrogance.
It is possible. We've had people call politicians a lot of things that they are not. This is politics. Remember, since we started our presidential primaries, people had always gone and knew and predicted who the running mate was going to be. I mean, actually, that is the case. Napo has unfortunately been warned, and that's something that the NDC have done very, very well. Because see, I read Professor Samuel Betbuedi-Kusi, the professor the Dean for International Affairs in the University of Cape Coast. He was the secretary to UTAG the time Napo was minister. And this is what he says about him. I have known and worked with Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. I got close to him during my time as the National Secretary of UTAG. He's such a fine, humble, and competent gentleman. If you get close to him and listen to his words carefully, he's such a fine, humble, and competent gentleman. If you get close to him, you will get to know that he is down to earth with a great sense of humor and has very good interpersonal skills. He is a great manager, a visionary, and a doer. He is compassionate and does not discriminate. During his reign as the Minister for Education, he had an excellent relationship with unions and his charisma. Always curbed intended strike actions. He speaks his mind and is forthright. He speaks his mind and is forthright. He solves problems and is a mentor. He is one of the best ministers Ghana has had as a Minister for Education. I have no doubt about his leadership qualities. And I wish him well as he begins his campaign for the 2024 presidential campaign. Now listen, I am MPP, I've been in MPP, I have never seen Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh exhibit any form of arrogance. Anybody I've heard say Napo is arrogant is somebody that has never worked with Napo. Never. I have listened to Nagrat's leadership. I've listened to Nat, I've listened to professors of the universities, professors who worked in the sector, and it is evidenced. And you heard the professor say that he always curbed strike actions. In fact, during the entire period of Napo being Minister for Education, he had the least labor unrest that Ghana has ever seen in the education sector. An arrogant minister can never achieve this. Never. The way labor unions operate and their modus operandi, if you're arrogant, you cannot survive them.
You hear what the intelligentsia, the intellectuals say about him when he was seeking to introduce that bill to clip the wings of the university.
So it is about it's about getting the conversation, like the professor said. It's about the engagement. He's forthright.
You are forthright, are you not?
I am.
You speak your mind.
I have a lot of people who actually assume that I am arrogant, but I'm a pure Equiapim bred.
I haven't heard it said of you that you are arrogant.
I have people even in my WhatsApp.
I haven't heard it said of Sami that he's arrogant.
I have heard people say,
even though
I have heard people say Sami is arrogant. I've heard people say I am arrogant. I have heard it. Really? And I'm telling you about my own personal testimony people have given. You don't doubt that. And that is natural. But that's even beside the point. The fact is that Napo has suffered that false start of being won a kaba and slate of arrogance by the opposition party. Because all the professors and people who have worked with him, they say different things. The guy is competent, he's a doer, he's a go-getter, he's humble. When we worked with him, he's respectful, he engaged us properly, and we got results. He has this big task of removing this kaba and slate from himself. Unfortunate, but that is politics. The very moment you got ready to be named as a running mate, you should be ready for it. Remember when Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was accused in Parliament of having 3-4 wives, and a woman's name was even mentioned to be his wife? You have to deal with these things. One thing that I have said and consistently told anybody that has called me is that you don't tell people who somebody is. People experience him. Napo has started his campaigning. He's on the ground. He's engaging the people. And by the time July ends and we enter August, the people of Ghana will know what Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh is made of. And I can tell you without any doubt that the true nature of Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh that the people will know from experiencing him would be all the testimonies that the people he has worked with, the professors, including even the energy sector. Ask Senior Jose, your friend. Ask all the people in the sector. They will tell you about the character. They may disagree on issues. They will disagree on the policies and all of that. But the character, all of them have attested that the gentleman is a go-getter, he's a doer, he's assertive, he's forthright, he's a team player.
He's dealt with most vice chancellors. They don't say the same.
Now, this issue of Tuesday's Kwame Nkrumah's comment.
Your Kwame Nkrumah.
I have a view, to be very honest with you, that now people are watching Napo with a much more critical eye than they would watch any politician in the light of arrogance.
So there's a benefit.
There is a big disadvantage there. So now even how he walks may be a problem. We may begin to see people show videos of what he's even wearing and describing it as arrogance. Now Napo cannot make a mistake by even not seeing a chief coming from behind him and say that, oh, I didn't see you, sorry, let me rise up. It will be interpreted. So that is a cross he has to bear. But these crosses, they don't last. You can't lie on somebody's character. It's just a matter of time. The people would experience him themselves.
But this time has been for years now.
No, it's not. This is the time that he is going to be the number 2 gentleman of our land. He's going to campaign to be a running mate. He has never come to my hometown, Latte. Today, he will get to come there. He has never been to Kukua in Ayesuano. Today, he will get to go there. So it will not take Sami Jemfi or anybody to say he's arrogant. The people would have experienced him themselves. Oh, trust me, by September, what you hear is that, oh, send Napo Nukrano,
where has it been? Where has he been after mention?
But something, what I know, having worked with Napo in this party all over the years, supports the assertion and the testimony that all the people he worked with in the education sector are saying. And you underrate Napo and his political influence at your own peril. It's just a matter of time.
Where has he been after?
He's been
after
in the
this?
western
Yeah.
and the western north.
Okay.
Engaging the people.
He didn't go to Nalergo?
No.
Okay.
He's taking a different arm of the campaign.
I was in Tamale and I was aware there was
he's taking a different arm of the campaign, and he's going to stay in the communities. We should expect to see more of him in our communities, engaging the people and having conversations with the people. That is what we are going to experience. And then we would see whether this by force arrogance, an arrogant person doesn't easily apologize like Napo has done. Listen, you know that there are people who have actually made similar and worse comments on this Nkrumah matter. I have screenshots here. I don't want to go too much into it because it may seem like a justification. But I have a chief here, and you can look at it.
Very many people.
Who have actually said that Manhyia is better than. In fact, they said that Manhyia is greater than Nkrumah. But nobody held up to the chief. You know why? Because he's not Napo.
The manner it was said.
No, not necessarily.
That makes the biggest difference.
Nobody has held the chief because he's not Napo, and there is no crystal microscope on him. The national organizer of the NDC actually said it
Napo is not
emphatically.
saying this for the first time. You know, right? People know.
But why?
That is not the first time.
If we want to go into the substance,
so it means it's in his.
If we want to go into the substance, why? I'm not a fan of Nkrumah. I'm a political science student. I studied Nkrumah in detail.
Okay, let's.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Don't let us digress.
Right. Okay.
Because I am not. You can't force me to be a fan of another political leader.
Okay.
There are people who disagree with Kufuor.
All right.
Doesn't mean that these people are bad people. Isn't Kufuor equally a hero?
Thank you.
Isn't Dankwa and Buzia and Co. all people?
Thank you. So
don't let us even go into that line.
So
Napo has apologized.
Right.
And I tell some say, please let me land on this. Napo has apologized. And I think that it shows the way. It actually even tells you the character that is made of. It actually re-emphasizes the point that a lot of these
a lot of pressure.
No, there wasn't a lot of
pressure.
The
apology came after a lot of pressure.
No, it's unfair. The
event
happened.
Defending
no, he didn't. You see, I can replay what he said. That's what he said. My statement last Tuesday, 9 July in Kumasi on the performance of President has elicited varied reactions. The statement reflects my personal opinion about President Kufuor's impact relative to other presidents we've had in the past. I wish to emphasize that I never meant to disrespect our former president, not Dr. Kwame Nkrumah or his own grandfather. He's never done any such thing. Okay. In fact, what he did in the Western region was to basically make the point that I was only trying to compare what I think my government, which I'm part of, has done against what other government has done. Nobody gave him room to even make the point in terms of what he means. You understand? So he hasn't justified it. What Napo has done is to come back and apologize for whatever discomfort his comment would have caused. And I think that for anything at all, let's give him credit because we've seen leaders, including former President Manhyia, make worse comments to Ghanaians, and he hasn't even had the cause to even think that he needs to come to apologize. So that alone is leadership and maturity that he has shown.
Thank you. So, Sami, you, the guys in the NDC, and many people on social media, whether they are NDC or not, what is it that you see about Napo that the NPP guys don't see?
Well, the two of them have had 17 minutes to speak, so I know, I trust that you'll be very fair with the time allocation. Now, Samson, I can understand why my two brothers in the studio are trying very hard. In fact, I don't envy them at all, because they are trying very hard to market a candidate who is not marketable.
And that's what you pray for.
And to defend the indefensible. To project a person who is innately arrogant as humble. I can understand, because that is what they have been recruited to do. These are the communicators and marketers of Bawumia's campaign. So what do you expect? But you see, they can bath Napo with all the water in the sea. They will not be able to rid him of arrogance, because he is innately disrespectful, condescending, and arrogant. Character, they say, is like pregnancy. You cannot conceal it. It will come out no matter what you do to try to conceal it. I am surprised that the two of them will suggest that this arrogant tag on Napo is the creation of the NDC. Really? Over the last few days, the people who have come out to express their revulsion at those condescending commentary Napo made against Kwame Nkrumah in Kumasi, are they NDC people? I'm asking you.
Of course not.
Journalists, your colleagues who work here and in other media organizations, chiefs, historians. So they are all NDC people. You see, you are not helping the man when you come and sit on TV and you try to justify his sins when you yourself know that what he has done is wrong. You are not helping him. Why? Is it the NDC who told Napo to insult diploma teachers as daft and unintelligent? Is it the NDC who told Napo to tell Ghanaians who were legitimately demanding a doomsday timetable so that they can at least plan their lives, to go and prepare their own timetables because they were nation wreckers, like Napo said to Ghanaians? We in the NDC, were we the ones who told him to say that? Were we the ones who told him to make divisive and ethnocentric comments against the people of Volta region, particularly those in the Keita enclave, that if government made an allocation in its budgets to address the problem of tidal waves in that enclave, he was going to lead Ashantis in Kumasi to protest against them?
So he didn't make derogatory comments about them.
Yes,
you just said he made derogatory comments about them.
What can be more derogatory?
He said there are other people who have a need.
Yes.
So if you are going to do it, then you must do it for all, not for only those there.
Oh, so
he didn't denigrate them.
So the many times that we have taken public funds, okay, GMPC funds for I'm with you for repaying the chief of Akufo-Addo's hometown. Did you hear Napo coming to say that the other chiefs? So GMPC money should be shared to all chiefs. Why is it that when it came to the turn of Voltarians, this man said, if you try, because these are citizens, they pay taxes, something, and they are victims of a natural disaster, tidal waves from the sea. And MPs in parliament, their representatives, were making a legitimate demand for government to make a budgetary allocation for that. And this man says, if you try that, why? Are the people of Kumasi suffering from any tidal wave disaster? So how can such an allocation be made for them? That argument doesn't even make sense.
In fact, my view is that they are not victims of a natural disaster.
Yes.
They have suffered because of the negligence of those who are supposed to manage the situation.
Yeah.
And those managers ought to be held accountable.
I agree.
They must pay.
I agree, and I'm sure you are talking about that man-made dam spillage disaster.
You know, now there's another one coming.
Yes.
See how they are going about it. That's what they should have done in the first place.
Yes. You see, you are energy minister. There is doom, so people are suffering. They ask you for a common timetable, and you tell the journalists that go and prepare your own timetable. When this man in opposition joined the doomsday must end, have you seen the speech he delivered there?
Yeah, we played.
Have you seen the tonation? And people are defending him that it is we in the NDC who are branding him arrogant. Can anybody brand Kufo as arrogant? The tag will not stick. Just like the arrogant tag Miracles is trying to foist on Mahama, who cannot stick because everybody knows him to be a perfect gentleman, a humble leader. So please stop this. We are not the ones who told Napo to tell poor and suffering SHS students that they should count themselves lucky that they can defecate in black polythene bags. Neither were we the people who told Napo to come and sit in the studios of Asempa FM here and say that it was Mahama, lie against Mahama, a former president, that he was the one who bashed students and parents to go and fake fainting at the Independence Square. Let the man carry his own cross. This is what he is. And as I told you, you can bath him with all the water in the sea. You can't rid him of this. Look, if he was not innately disrespectful and arrogant, how can your own king, the Otumfuo, advise you in the full glare of the public? The fact that he even chose to advise you in the public after he says he advised you in private should tell you what he thinks about you. Then, it was not even an hour. Few minutes after, even as he was entering the grounds, there is an MPP apparatchik who works at the presidency. They call him Boya. Boya was giving Napo fans. He was trying to get close. I'm sure you've seen the video. In the full glare of the public, Napo said, "Get out, go away."
We saw that in the video.
We didn't hear what he said, but we heard him.
You saw the gesture
shouting at him,
and we know in our culture
he was not happy about what the guy was
doing. That gesture meant something. No leader who has the decency and maturity required to lead will do that in public.
He's human. He should get angry when someone is doing something wrong against him.
Not every human being can be a vice president. For you to occupy such a prestigious high office, you cannot just say, I am human.
So what?
There is a certain maturity. So you are human, so you can sit in parliament and do this to your colleague MP and say you are mad. You can do this in parliament. You are human, so you can stand on a political platform and say you are Nkrumah. The man who gave us independence, the man who carved out what we know to be Ghana today, the man who has been elected as the greatest African of the millennium, the man who built the KNUST you attended, built all the major public universities in Ghana, UCC, University of Ghana, University of Winneba, the man who built the Tema Township, the Tema Harbour, the Tema Motorway, the Kosovo Dam, which till today is the bulwark of our power sector.
Things, the way you, the politician,
you call that man
build it with your
Nkrumah? No, he built it for Ghana.
Okay.
He built it for Ghana. You are comparing him to a man who has plunged this nation into bankruptcy. The Akufo-Addo, who under him Ghana cannot pay its debts. The Akufo-Addo, who can only boast of the biggest pit in the whole world, $58 million sunk into a fraudulent cathedral project. The Akufo-Addo, who oversaw the closure of the Kolebu Renal unit for close to 4 months over government's indebtedness of 4 million cedis, leading to the avoidable debt of over 17 Ghanaians. You are this is an unforgivable sacrilege. Nobody does that. And when people were telling him that he was wrong, he went to Nkrumah's hometown. Look at how insulting this is. He goes to Nkrumah's home region, the Western region, doubles down on his reckless, irresponsible comment, and actually robs it in the faces of the people of that region. And because of the revulsion the people
told the chiefs there, he said, "You have not brought me up to be arrogant.
Were they the ones who brought him?
I am being assertive.
Yes.
And I'm being a truth teller, and people hate that kind of posture."
So that is what shows that Napo has not apologized. That is my position. This statement, which has been issued per my intel, was drafted, issued by the campaign team without his knowledge.
No, you can't say that.
Let me tell you.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
The comments in question was made by Napo orally on the campaign platform. He few days, in fact, the day after he went to the Western region, repeated it. That look, I'm not a coward.
No, he didn't repeat it.
He defended it. What about that? He doubled down on it, said, you didn't raise me as a coward. I'm truthful.
So he defended it. He defended it in a context.
Yes,
he defended it in a context.
That he spoke the truth. He said that by saying you're Nkrumah, and that Anado is better than Nkrumah.
He didn't repeat by saying you're Nkrumah.
Oh, Chief, did you do the differentiation? Why do you want to do the differentiation?
See what I mean when I say you strengthen your opponents? You are strengthening your opponents.
So the man is not remorseful. Anybody who knows Napo will tell you he's not remorseful.
Okay.
No, please, you give them ample time.
No.
Let me wrap up. Be fair to me. You gave them 17 minutes. Be fair to me.
I beg you. I'm not going to give you 17 minutes.
Oh, senior.
Okay.
You know that on that very platform, the condescending and insulting comment he made, right? I've had 9 minutes. You've had 17 minutes.
You have long had 10 minutes.
Now,
both of us had 17.
Sorry, let me finish.
Sorry.
You have a minute.
On that same platform, Samson, you know that Napo didn't only insult Kwame Nkrumah and the people of this country. He insulted caterers and teachers. He said that there is abundance of food under Akufo-Addo, such that today caterers are stealing food belonging to children. And that under Akufo-Addo there has been no hunger. Really? Where is this man from? Is he living in the same country we call Ghana, where we all live?
If caterers have been stealing some of the food in the schools, he shouldn't
Where is it? Have you seen the documentary that this station has done on the kind of food our children are eating? You see stew.
That doesn't mean there are bad nuts within the
So if
caterers.
the former minister of education comes to tell you that food is in abundance, when day in, day out, headmasters are complaining about the inadequacy of
But I don't think he
and the poor quality
generalized the comment for you to say he has insulted caterers.
No, caterers are not even paid. So you don't come and insult their intent. They are not stealing food. It's not true. They are not stealing any food.
Oh, really?
Then he insulted us again by saying that there is no doomsaw. Samson, is there doomsaw or no doomsaw? I'm saying you are very bold, though. You are telling us, citizens, to be proactive, to demand accountability. Is there doom so or no doom so? And you have this man, Kofi Bent, is there doom so or no doom so? You went for doom so demonstrations.
Google doom so.
And you.
If you ask me, let me answer.
It was a rhetorical
Google doom so and
rhetorical
check the definition of doom so. When you finish, compare it to what has just happened.
Well played. You've done your job. You've done your job. This is what he's saying.
Google the word doom.
Let me conclude.
Thank you.
Oh, they interjected. Let me conclude. I'm saying that, look, the apology is not sincere.
Yeah, I have my time. We all have the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
You spoke for 17. Don't be G3 when I'm speaking.
Sami, finish. And you are
the apology
here.
was not sincere.
You are stopping here. Yeah.
This is not the first time he has insulted the people of this country, and this will not be the last time. And the reason why it will not be the last time is because of people like you, who, though you know the right thing, will come and sit in studios like this and defend the wrong thing.
All right, thank you.
Continue to display arrogance.
Thank you very much. There was an aspect, we can be very brief about it, that in this process, now Bamia is saying, let's have a debate. That's where I want us to go to. Let's have a debate. We almost missed that. We have one more subject,
I know, but
which we have to be limited. We have to be careful with our time so we can make at least brief comments about that.
To the viewers. You know, when the subject
brief means 2 minutes each.
I beg you.
Oh,
I sat down.
I'm not coming back to you.
So I heard Sami speak, and I like what he did.
You're honest today.
What he did is that for the first time, I've actually heard the NDC now try to really define and put into proper perspective why they call Napo arrogant. And I like it. So he speaks of a doomsaw interview where Napo said, go and prepare your own doomsaw. Fine. And then he says that his basis is that we had doomsaw, and so you have to bring it. We haven't forgotten about the July 7, 2016 Daily Graphic publication, where the same question was put to former President Mahama to actually declare load shedding, and he said he wouldn't, even though there was doomsaw. Next level. You remember when former President Mahama told the people of this country in faraway Botswana, you're disrupting me, I beg you. Faraway Botswana, he looked into the camera and told the labor unions of this country that I have seen so many strikes in my time as president. I've seen so much that strikes don't mean anything to me. It's on video. I can share the video with your producers to play. And that, how I feel now, it's like they say in a Akan adage, it's like a dead goat. He's not afraid of a knife. I don't know whether there is any president that has ever made such an arrogant...
Well, he was voted out of power.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. Relax, we'll get there. Calm down. Secondly,
how many minutes each?
We are done. You are not coming again.
Former President Mahama.
We are done. You are not coming.
Told the people, Sami, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Because
former President Mahama, I sat down to
Nobody interrupted you.
Sami, 8 minutes.
We take a break here.
Samson, you can't do that.
We'll be right back.
You know I respect you. I love you. I love you and I respect you. No. You ran that off. You ran right out.
The race for the Jubilee House is beginning. Ghana is at a crossroads. It's time again for the people to choose, and the world is watching. We will do this because in a nation where every vote counts, where every voice matters, there's one name you can trust for your election coverage. Joy News, your election headquarters. A team of seasoned journalists will bring you up-to-the-minute updates, unbiased analysis, and stories behind the headlines. The election headquarters for an informed electorate. Joy News, independent, fearless, credible.
This is Newsfile, it's the most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. It's brought to you by the kind sponsorship of Bank of Africa, strong as a group and close as a partner. MTN, everywhere you go. Ashesi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert & Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 33 plus years. My Way Insurance, dial *165# on MTN to join My Way today. Syntex tanks, it's strong, it's durable. Flamingo paints, simply superior. So let me state this, and forgive us, our audience. We are unable to deal with the very final topic that we slated, and which is actually the main reason we have Kofi Bentil here, because Kofi Bentil is lawyer for the IGP in that matter, in which the Speaker has referred the report of Parliament's committee that investigated the matter to the President. And we're seeking to ask the question, what will become of this report if eventually it's still the buck stops with the President? Right, so Dennis, let's hear you.
My thoughts are disrupted, but I'll try and pick them. Sometimes Sami puts himself into his own trap, and then later it almost makes me feel like I'm bullying him. And that's wrong and unfair to him.
He does that to me to suggest that I'm stifling him, I'm not giving him time.
He's hanging himself. He's committing suicide. This morning he's committing suicide himself.
Yeah, so go ahead.
You are the one who have decided to go ahead and define what you mean by arrogance on Napo. I didn't do that. I have always been wondering why you call him that way since you've never worked with him. But you've defined it and given several comments and things Napo has said in the past. I am simply humbly asking, have we ever had a former president or any politician, a president in this country, throw off the country and say, even though we are in an energy crisis, I will not declare a load shedding? That was Mahama. Mahama actually stood in front of a camera and told the labor unions and workers of this country that he has seen too many labor unrest and strikes in his lifetime as a president. And so now he almost feels like he's a dead goat. Mahama specifically told medical professionals in this country that he is not ready to negotiate with them when they were calling for an improved service conditions in the midst of hardship. Mahama looked in the eyes of poor people in this country, reduced their allowances when they came begging and said, we beg you. This is what we use to support our children to go to the colleges, nursing and teacher colleges. Please restore it. He said, if I have to restore this nursing and teacher training colleges allowance for you to vote for me, then vote against it.
So they voted against
Mahama, please.
And you, the politicians, know as a matter of fact that these allowances that you are promoting are not sustainable. Within your government, it's
let the voter determine.
He's from Zimbabwe. He's not a Ghanaian voter.
Samson, why?
You are from Zimbabwe.
Why are you doing this?
No, Samson.
He's the host, not you.
It is
now,
3 minutes to
Mahama told the people of Ashanti region.
Give me my bite.
Ashanti region, and I have it. Since he's referring us to Google, this is Ghana Web. He said, if we build roads with gold, Ashantis won't appreciate.
It's a lie. How? Never said that. Stop lying. Samson
here.
Number one.
Samson, read it.
Oh,
let me
never
finish.
Said that.
Oh my God! Please. Let me
go ahead and
I'm not done. Why are you disrupting me? Why are you disrupting me?
Severally, and Kofi Bentil knows.
Oh, Sam, you have to behave.
Mahamad's dead.
You are misbehaving. It's not your turn.
Dead goats.
You are misbehaving. It's not your turn. It's not your turn. You are misbehaving.
Engage.
You are misbehaving. It's not your turn.
But he was going to remain.
I will have my.
Go ahead. Don't allow him.
Again,
Stop.
How do I go ahead?
Samson,
you are disrupting it. You are disrupting it.
And you don't want to give me any time to make a rebuttal.
Anything about
but at least I have a right to complain.
Every
take that right from
person watching, you are being
I don't have a right.
unfair. You are disrupting the show.
Don't I have a right to complain?
Can you relax?
I relax for you to put out all kind of
Samson, just discharge me. And let him have all the time. Because you can't do that.
You can Google all the
give him all the time and say you won't give me any time to make a rebuttal.
Mahama showed us the way. Google. If we build roads with gold for Ashantis,
it's a lie. It was never
Ghana Web. Ghana Web.
I will not sit here
6 May 2014.
It's still there on the page.
It's still there.
Yeah, go ahead.
You open it, right?
It is a
do you confirm it's still there?
Awesome.
Chief. Why are you doing this?
Go and build.
Why is this gentleman behaving this way?
After
Akufo-Addo was the one who told the people of Kwame.
After President Mahama made these comments you referred to.
After he made these comments you referred to. Last example.
Have you heard him being referred to as arrogant?
Last example. Oh yeah.
and the
you
chief
refer
of
to a
Afrawo.
certain Boya. First of all, it wasn't Boya in that video. Secondly, that Boya never works anywhere close to the presidency. Number 3, let me remind him, and he's giving examples of a definition of arrogance. Now, you had former President Mahama being on a campaign trail, speaking, and being disrupted, but last Sami Jefi is disrupting this show this morning. One of his own party members
protesting
one of his
unfair
own party
allocation of
members
time.
was
That is what I'm
blowing
doing.
a vuvuzela.
What are you
Now,
doing?
the president who was asking for their vote
I will not even worry.
says that now why no Kadia no tumjai vuvuzela no unti Africa.
So we are in the Adua. You do
No.
That's what you're
we are in an intellectual debate. No.
John Mama insulted
No, please, I'm not done.
Thank
Don't
you.
do that. Don't do that.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank
Sam
you.
said, I will conclude. I will have to conclude because it disrupted me.
You are done. The
We
time
are
is
in the
finished.
intellectual discussion.